Hello guys, happy Friday. So I wanted to do something for you guys, that will help you, with the program of the Everyday Functional Strength Athlete program I have on my site, and I have received questions from you. I've also added in some questions that I would have, that I believe that you will benefit from hearing. Um, and I've just completed my second week of my own Everyday Functional Strength Athlete program. So now actually got some personal experience with being able to answer these questions, and things I found out about this program, because it's largely new to me, and I'd imagine it's going to be new to a lot of you as well. And let me just start off by saying that this has wowed me. I have to say that I really have enjoyed this style of training. It's very different to any other program that I've ever done. Now I have changed a few exercises around, to more give me strength for my own personal goal. I think there was three or four I highlighted, but largely the same. So let me start off with a question that was sent in by asking if there was too much volume. Now there's three components I always factor into every single program when designing it, and that's volume, frequency, and intensity. Now, volume and intensity, they are kind of opposites. If one is high, the other one has to be low. If you have both of them high, then it's very hard to recover from. So personally, I like high intensity, but there's no doubt about it. Sometimes the volume should be high, and you can benefit largely from doing that in certain circumstances. So here, is there too much volume? Where there is high volume, the intensity is low. And a great example of this is weighted pull-ups. On day one, you've got 10 sets, high volume, but you start off by only doing one rep. 10 sets of one. Week two, 10 sets of two. Week 3, 10 sets of 3. Week 4, 10 sets of 4. So the volume stays the same, but the intensity is ramped up, but your body is adjusting and getting stronger each week. So therefore, the fatigue, will not, increase with it. You should adjust towards that, and recover okay. There's other farmer's walk, for example, here, volume's quite low, but farmer's walk is going to be quite challenging, high intensity, and that's why the volume's only 3 sets. You've got adequate recovery, 3 minutes. There's also other, quite high intensity movements. Yoke walk, another one, but you're only doing 1 set, and it's quite challenging, but only 1 set. So as I say, I feel that the volume is perfect, for this style of training, because the intensity has gone down the more volume you do, and vice versa. Odd lifts, why are they in there? Great question. And so the reason why I put them in there, is because I wanted this style of training to be functional for everyday usage. Now, very often we find ourselves every single day in certain situations that our body just is not very strong in. So if, for example, if you pick something off the floor, you don't just automatically sit there and think, right, let's straight back, bend your knees, put down, use 2 hands. Quite often it's a reaction to something. Like, for example, you drop something, you've got to pick it up. Screw in a light bulb, screw it 1 hand. You don't sit there, make sure everything's, completely in the right place, straight back. It's only changing a light bulb, but you get the idea. You're obviously in an awkward position. If your kid runs at you and you're wrestling with him, or playing around with your little one, you're often doing it in awkward positions. My kid ran at me the other day, and I grabbed him with one arm, and I was actually thinking, when I grabbed him, I was to the side, I didn't pick him up, but it was enough, that I felt it down one side. And this is why I put things in there that, like the one arm sled walk, or drag. If you keep your shoulders aligned, which is what I've suggested you do, it's an anti-rotational movement, and this was the one exercise that I've got in my program that really shocked me, is when you're doing it, the amount of pull you find your opposite oblique, having, Okay, when I say pulling, I don't mean hurting you, but obviously it's an anti-rotational movement. So the heavier it is and the more upright you are, keeping your shoulders aligned, okay, you are building strength for those type of situations. So I wanted to build strength around, okay, everyday movements that you're unfamiliar with, but you often find yourself in. Okay, carrying shopping from your car to your to your door, to your kitchen, to your house, wherever you put your shopping. Okay, you don't have, okay, bags on each arm that is exactly the same. They're quite often odd. Sometimes you only use one hand. Okay, you got a key on the other one. Obviously, you're undoing your door, but you're keeping hold of those bags. Okay, so obviously these type of situations, okay, I feel those odd lifts will help you with. Okay, can you add extra exercises? I'll be honest with you, I would say no. Okay, um, the question I got was specifically towards adding in abs and certain hypertrophy movements. Well, first of all, you will see the one, okay, or actually two muscles that particularly have stuck out for me that have ached in 2 weeks I've done this, and that's core, okay, and forearms. Okay, those two muscles have stuck out like a sore thumb to me. Okay, I do not believe if you are doing this correctly, you will want to do abs or extra core movements. Okay, you are being challenged, okay, with that muscle every single workout in some capacity. Hypertrophy, well, there is hypertrophy movements for every single muscle group. Okay, yes, it's more around strength, but you are also doing hypertrophy movements in there. So I would say no. For at least the first rotation, the first cycle of doing this, I would say don't add in anything. If you do the 4 weeks, okay, with a prep week will be a 5th week, okay. If you want to change it up and add some movements, okay, then we can talk about that at a later stage. Okay, but personally, I wouldn't, certainly to start with. Now, some of the questions I had, okay, which surprising I didn't get a question on this, okay, is what happens if your gym doesn't have the right equipment? Well, it's a great question, okay, and it's something I personally saw straight away when I was reading this, and that's why I say it shocks me that someone else didn't ask this, okay, but try and adapt, try and come up with your own, okay, style of movement, okay, that mimics the exercises I've given you. For example, farmer's walk. Okay, obviously many gyms do not have farmer's walk equipment. Okay, certainly not a yoke, okay, machine. Okay, but adapt. So yoke, you can just stick a barbell on your back. Okay, farmer's walk. Okay, you can use barbells, you can use dumbbells, you can use kettlebells, depending how heavy these things go up in your gym. Okay, but try to obviously come up with some method, okay, of how you can mimic that movement. For a great suggestion would be with these odd lifts, if you don't like the look of these, or you cannot figure out, okay, how you can do this in your gym, then make your own odd lift. Okay, as Bruce Lee once said, research, okay, research your own experience, okay, and I'm going to butcher the saying, but it's something like take what is useful, disregard what is useless, and adapt it and make it your own, something along those lines, okay. And that's what the odd lift you should do, is, you know, try it, okay. If you find it useless, okay, well, think of something in everyday life that you could build strength doing, okay, and try to mimic it in the gym environment. Start off doing it light and build up, okay, and adapt accordingly. Okay, now a couple of points I wanted to point out about this, okay, is I've already answered the question on the odd lifts, the ruck walk, okay. Now these ruck walks, okay, now there are two essentially rest days. One is an active rest day, one is a full rest day. The active rest day is the ruck walk, okay. Now obviously if you don't have a ruck, you can just use a backpack, you can use a weighted vest if you've got it, okay. And I have really enjoyed this, okay. I have to say, I've done 3 of them so far. They've obviously all been outside. I've tried to do it in the countryside rather than sticking on the roads. Okay, one of those times it was quite wet, so I actually did have to do a lot of it on the road, but I tried to go off piste where I could. And it was really, just really nice and peaceful to get out, okay, and go for a walk. 2 of them were in the morning, 1 of them, okay, was in the afternoon, and I really enjoyed it. It was so peaceful, and you get to be outside. Okay, now I've done it for 75 minutes, and I've increased the weight every single ruck. Okay, you don't have to, okay, but try to get around 5k. Okay, that's what my suggestion would be. And instead of increasing the distance, increase the weight in your ruck. You can increase the distance rather than increasing the weight, okay, but that's the way I've been doing it, okay. But I would suggest you doing the same thing. It's a really good way, okay. It's not fatiguing whatsoever. You are burning a lot of calories, okay, more than you think, and it's just a great way to get some active rest in without, okay, fatiguing your body whilst you get doing active rest. Quite often, okay, certainly in the past, a lot of my active rest has been on the bike, but then sometimes, okay, you forget about how fatiguing that can be, and the next day you're just feeling really sore and run down. But that's not a rest. I haven't felt that with the rucks, so that's why I think it's a great thing to have in a program. Diet, right? Okay, this is something I really wanted to point out. I have kept, okay, my diet in a surplus whilst trying this functional program. Okay, you are doing a lot of work, okay, and it's very taxing on the nervous system, okay, and you're lifting a lot of weight. This, okay, is the reason why I believe you should be in a surplus. Okay, now my surplus has come in the form of carbs, and I have placed those extra calories around my workout. Okay, if you've seen my Instagram stories, my pre-workout, now bearing in mind I get up very early in the morning, I'm not going to eat food, okay, before that. It's just not going to digest in time for my workout, so I've made it some kind of liquid drink. And what I've done, I've got 100 ml of whole milk. There's 3 dates, which works out to be around about 20 to 30 grams. I've got some honey in there, okay, and I've added in coffee and a banana, and that's blitzed together. Okay, I make my coffee in the morning, hot coffee, okay, pour it in the drink, and it cools it down, and I drink it on the way to the gym. Afterwards, I've been making these tray bakes, these oat bakes. Okay, you can call it, forget the names, is flapjacks. Okay, for some reason the name escaped my head. They are a type of flapjack, okay, but they're more of a tray bake, okay, if you wanted to be technically correct. But essentially, I've cut these, I made a big batch of it, I've cut it up, and I have 1 or 2, depending on the intensity of my workout, how I'm feeling. I've added those in afterwards because I quite often, when I come back, okay, I wait for my wife to wake up and my son, because I like to eat breakfast with them, and quite often it can be 1 to 2 hour wait. So now I'm having in a slice or 2 of this tray bake, and that's enough to add in, I think it's around about 450 calories, give or take, extra, okay, and I felt great doing it. Okay, but definitely felt the benefit of adding in extra calories, and I feel like I've got leaner from doing it, which is a strange thing, but that's the way I feel. So doing this, I would definitely suggest being in a surplus. Okay, it will help you tremendously. And obviously as well, you're doing a strength program. There's no point of doing a strength program and eating for weight loss. It just, the two conflict. Okay, so yeah. Another point I wanted to bring up about the prep week. Okay, the prep week I feel has been very beneficial, okay, for me with this program, partly because some of the movements I've never done before, okay, but the prep week helped me to prepare myself, okay, for what's coming up. And I actually did tweak my program because I felt the next day, okay, I was sore in an area that I was due to do an exercise with, okay, and so for me, I just tweaked the program. I didn't take out the exercise. I just moved an exercise out of day 2 into day 1, an exercise from day 1 into day 2, which allowed me to rest for day 3. Okay, so it gave me more rest for that muscle group. Okay, for day 3. So that's the value of the prep week. And I have to say that if I do any new programs in the future, I will keep that prep week in there. Okay, I found it, as I say, massively beneficial, and it's the first time I've ever done a prep week, so in any program, so I will keep it in there. But that's all the questions I had, okay, from you guys. And if you have been doing this program or you're interested in doing it, it will be great, okay, if you get in touch. If you want to ask any questions that maybe I haven't answered well enough, or you do have any questions that you want to raise with me, feel free to get in touch, guys, okay? I would love to hear from you. And I'm really interested because I have thoroughly enjoyed this style of training, and I have to say that it's going to be a style of training I'm going to do for a while. Okay, when I complete these 4 weeks, I'm going to adapt the program and follow the same theme, okay, but tweak it slightly to make it a little bit more fresher. Okay, so I'm really enjoying it, okay, and getting huge benefit. I feel great, okay, I really do feel good. So I hope you guys give it a go. But get in contact if you do have any questions, and yeah, have a great weekend, guys, and speak to you soon. Take care.